Time to keep it, it's time to keep it, it's time to keep it. It's the big keep it.
Hello everybody, Artistry and Finesse with you. The Bachelor finale tonight. And Finesse, I walked away from this just devastated and asking one question. Where's our fairy tale?
What an episode. Again, we see the season finale live up to all the hype. What an episode. Although, honestly, I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted with what happened. I'm disgusted with where we are. I'm disgusted with what the show's become. And you asked about the fairy tale. I don't think the fairy tale's possible anymore. I don't believe in it anymore. I don't think we're getting the fairy tale. I think it's gone. I think the fairy tale's gone.
Wait a minute. Everybody's upset right now, but just get a hold of yourself. I want to understand what you're saying.
I can't.
Are you saying just
I'm beside
just
myself.
Get a hold of yourself. Are you saying that there is no fairy tale?
Are you
saying what are you saying?
I'm saying if there is a fairy tale, I don't believe in it.
People are looking to us right now for some perspective. Okay.
Look, it's like God. You know, you can believe in it or not, but you don't really know whether it exists. And that's sort of how I feel about the fairy tale. I don't know what to believe. I know I haven't seen it. It hasn't touched me personally. And it doesn't seem like it touched Claire. And it hasn't touched Nikki.
I know for a fact because I know you. I know you watched After the Final Rose. And we saw a showdown on After the Final Rose between essentially Satan and the Bachelor Ideal and Sean, who said, I am a living, breathing expression of the fairy tale. When I love someone, I want them to know I love them. Juan Pablo, to each his own, but essentially you have it all wrong. So doesn't that renew your faith a little bit? In all of this, don't you believe that it's possible?
I mean, he's a prophet and he's maybe a winged angel, but I don't know that he is the fairy tale himself.
He's sent
down.
Let's just be honest. You didn't watch the episode.
I didn't watch any of the episode. Although, no, I watched the last 60 seconds of the episode because it bled over past 10 o'clock, and for whatever reason, my DVR only recorded the After the Final Rose. So my knowledge is limited to the first 25 minutes of After the Final Rose. But while my knowledge is limited, my emotion is not. And I know everything I need to know.
Yeah, I know you're feeling the emotions. I don't doubt that for a second. I would never take that away from you. But what you need to understand, what you didn't see, that was really, to me, the most remarkable thing about this episode, is how, the first hour of the finale, the Bachelor meets... or the candidates, the ladies, meet the Bachelor's family.
That's right.
It's like a reverse hometowns. So we start with Claire, and she goes and she talks to Juan Pablo's mom. And I kid you not, the two words that Juan Pablo's own mother used to describe him are hyperactive and rude.
Well, that's very much how he came across sort of at the beginning of the... After the Final Rose.
And Claire found this comforting. She was comforted by this. So right away, the whole world is sort of upside down. And you don't know which end is which. It was not a typical meeting with the family, but these ladies, I think they get this far. And I think if you get to the finale, you're done. There's no walking away. Have we ever seen anybody walk away at the finale? I don't think so.
There's nothing Claire couldn't convince herself of.
Nothing.
She could talk herself into doing anything.
Right. And then, on top of that, the cousin, Juan Pablo's cousin with braces. Do you know this guy?
Yeah, we saw him earlier in the season.
His name is Rudolfo.
Right.
And Rudolfo was really stepping up. He was embracing his role as sort of the gatekeeper to Juan Pablo's soul. And
much harder role than it seems.
It is. Very difficult role. And he sat down with Claire and he asked her, I want to know, when things inevitably get rough and Juan Pablo is just willing to walk away from you, willing to completely bail on the relationship, are you willing to hold on? how tightly will you hold on to Juan Pablo at that point?
Right.
And predictably, Claire says very tightly, I'm not going to let him go. Doesn't matter what the guy does, I'm not letting him go. So
that's the kind of commitment that Rodolfo demands. You want to get past Rodolfo's walls. You got to be willing to go through a lot.
Yeah, if you make it that far, you're basically totally, putting yourself out there. You're sacrificing everything.
In Shawshank Redemption, when he crawls through 500 yards of that pipe.
That's what Rodolfo would demand. Yeah.
Rodolfo is basically the 500-yard pipe filled with sewage.
It's exactly right.
You come out on the other. You cut through Rodolfo. You come out clean on the other side.
That's right.
and you have your freedom.
So Rodolfo did the same sort of screening with Nikki, and it wasn't quite as bad, but it was bad. He said the same thing. What are you going to do? Inevitably, Juan Pablo's going to be done with you. And the question is, at that point, can you make him, change his mind? Essentially, Juan Pablo's dad said Juan Pablo is not an easy guy. Basically, he's extraordinarily selfish. And Juan Pablo's mom said to Nikki, I want to make sure you're comfortable with this. I want you to know that basically your whole life is going to be waking up, making breakfast, and watching TV. Is that okay with you? Are you ready for that?
Well, at least they're honest about Juan Pablo.
They're all honest. Juan Pablo's whole family, they're all the same.
Right. They're like, you sure you want to marry him? He's really not a good person at all.
Right. They're basically telling you there's no fairy tale. It becomes very, very boring after you leave St. Lucia. There's going to be a lot of sitcoms, a lot of reruns. You're going to be making breakfast and taking care of Camila and changing her pajama.
Did they ever do a test? Did they bring Camila out and put on her pajama?
They did not bring out Camila. Camila was present at the beginning for a little while. She had a little interaction with Claire, but it wasn't a big focus of the episode, which is a good thing because Camila's going to be growing up watching reruns of her dad, being cruel to people on national television.
I want to take a shot at the PC crowd for a second.
Yeah, go ahead.
They talk about how there needs to be more diversity in bachelors. There's calls for an African-American bachelor, an Asian bachelor, a homosexual bachelor, all of these different types of diversity. Why not a bachelor with braces? Why not Rodolfo?
That's a real dark horse, I think, going to next season because Rodolfo is sort of like Juan Pablo, but he's sensitive and he has braces. Right.
So it's sort of a trade-off. Like if you want the handsome guy who's an asshole, you go with Juan Pablo. If you want the nice guy but he has braces, you got to go Rodolfo.
Right. And he has exacting standards, Rodolfo. He expects you, if Juan Pablo dumps you, basically, don't go anywhere. Just stick around, stick it out. That's staying power.
If Rodolfo was the bachelor, though, and Juan Pablo was screening the women for Rodolfo, Juan Pablo would probably make the women make Juan Pablo breakfast. He would be like, are you prepared for your life with Rodolfo or you will make me breakfast? You will be making me breakfast every day.
Yeah, Juan Pablo was unbelievable. And this season bucked history and tradition in so many ways, not the least of which, we didn't even see Neil Lane. Juan Pablo picked out a ring, but where was Neil Lane?
Yeah,
he didn't make the cut because Juan Pablo didn't ask anybody to marry.
Well, Neil Lane's not going to waste it. He's not going to waste himself when there's no proposal.
Yeah, I know, but who does that to Neil Lane?
I mean, maybe Neil Lane was there and they cut it. Maybe Neil Lane has control. He sees whether there's a proposal. If there's no proposal, he takes his footage back. There's nothing Neil Lane can't get at the bargaining table. Have you seen that man's chest hair?
Yeah, he's impressive. He really is.
All right, so what happened with Claire? Why did she leave? She left the show?
So you didn't even see this? Okay.
No, but I picked up on a lot of what was going on.
Well, here's the gist of it. They went on the helicopter ride, and the helicopter is it's like a temple. It's like a sacred place. You go up in the helicopter. It's safe in the helicopter. Nothing bad happens in the helicopter.
It's the metaphor of all metaphors.
Yeah, and Juan Pablo violated that really sacred principle of The Bachelor. Apparently, he said something vulgar to Claire, something that she said was sexual and inappropriate when she wanted to hear something tender and kind. Juan Pablo went the other direction. She was very upset by this, and it made her think that perhaps he didn't know her. I'm not so sure.
Sounds to me like he wanted to get to know her.
Yeah, I mean, what do you want to hear? He's expressing interest in being with you.
Love can be expressed in many different ways.
What's that?
I said love can be expressed in many different ways.
Many different ways and in many different languages, and there are many different interpretations. Juan Pablo is a man of many colors, many stripes. So for her to attribute meaning of a certain type to what he said is not necessarily something we should take at face value. We're never going to know.
So they're in the helicopter when he says this to her?
They're in the helicopter.
Okay, and do they have the little headsets on?
They didn't show them talking, so we don't know if the headsets were on. The headsets might have been off. Maybe the wind was
very
blowing
difficult.
Really hard.
Very, very difficult to communicate in a helicopter without the headset.
We have no idea what was said.
Well, I'm going to take a shot at it. I'm going to guess.
All right.
I feel like we can speculate on this.
Go ahead.
I think he said the one thing that's the most offensive thing to say when you're on The Bachelor and you're in a helicopter with a woman. You turn to her and you say, I'm honestly not that excited about being in this helicopter. I'm kind of lukewarm about it. This isn't...
I wish we would just touch down.
Yeah, this doesn't really do it for me. This is kind of boring. I haven't been dreaming of this my whole life.
I don't want to touch down on that plateau. I'd like to just go back to base.
Yeah, and maybe we could pull up a bench for lunch rather than sit on the grass and have a picnic.
Nope, no picnic. Yeah, I mean, if he said that, then all bets are off, and I stand with Claire.
I want to know what was with the stink eye from Charlene on after the final rose? I mean, she was just, grilling them hard. Lots of cuts to Charlene.
Well, that's not what my takeaway from after the final rose was. Did you get to the exchange with Chris Harrison and Juan Pablo?
Yeah, of course.
Has anyone ever challenged Chris Harrison on after the final rose? I mean, you want to talk about nerve? You want to talk about something that means you're going to be basically excommunicated from the Bachelor community? I can't abide that.
I gotta go. I gotta side the other way here. I gotta go with Juan Pablo because I'm gonna say something.
What?
I'm going with Juan Pablo on this because I'm gonna say something that Chris Harrison probably doesn't want to hear. I don't think that Chris Harrison's reaction when Juan Pablo first came out was appropriate because Juan Pablo opened with a prayer for Venezuela, and I didn't think that Chris Harrison...
You didn't think he was probably...
I don't think he was praying for Venezuela.
Well, Chris Harrison's the host. He's got to keep things moving.
Yeah, but he has no right to not pray for Venezuela. If someone came on this podcast right now and says, "Excuse me, guys, can we be quiet for a second? Let's have a prayer for Venezuela." You know what I would do? I would shut my mouth, and I would pray. I would pray for Venezuela.
Who do you think you're talking about? You don't think Chris Harrison is enough of a pro to pray during a commercial break?
No, you don't. You don't pray during a commercial break. You pray when someone calls for the prayer for Venezuela.
I bet Chris Harrison deferred his prayer for every commercial break. And it's really nervy of you to suggest that Chris Harrison doesn't know the appropriate time or place to pray for Venezuela.
Do you think we should pray for Venezuela right now?
Listen, you're getting me off topic here.
I'm sorry. I'm just saying.
Whenever Chris Harrison prayed for Venezuela, and I guarantee you his thoughts and prayers with Venezuela, whenever he prayed with Venezuela, it's no excuse to mouth off to Chris Harrison on his show. I've never seen that happen, and I'm going to venture to say we'll never see that happen again.
For the record, though, my thoughts and prayers are with Venezuela.
Yeah, absolutely. Goes without saying.
Well, it needs
So
to be.
it was really a rocky season, and I don't know where we go from here. I think we go to Rodolfo.
Rodolfo, Ronaldo, whatever. It's a disappointing season. I think that we started off way too heavy with the fatherhood stuff, which was sort of a cover for Juan Pablo being an asshole, and then he just became kind of a jerk, and that sort of overtook everything, and you had the ladies, they were dropping left and right, and, he's left with Nikki, who they had this obsessive conversation with Chris Harrison about, did he say I love you? Did he not say I love you? Did he say I like you a lot? What does that mean? And to me, that's not what the show's about. The show shouldn't be about hedging whether you love somebody. You love somebody right away. You get out of the limo, you love somebody. That's it.
Just jump in and love somebody. We don't care who loves somebody.
I don't care. Why would I care who they love? Just love somebody.
Love somebody. It's really about maintaining the fairy tale, and it was just broken. The spell was broken, I think, for everybody.
And so, did we never get to see the video, Claire's dad's video?
No, we never got to see it.
What a tease! What a tease! You know what?
That's something that Claire still has that is a part of her that is not vulnerable. She's not going to open herself up like that to a man like that. She's not going to bring out a big screen television and play a video of her father's speech from beyond the grave to just anyone. And I respect that.
I actually heard from a source within The Bachelor that her father's video opens with a prayer for Venezuela.
I don't doubt that.
So, I don't know. I don't know where we go from here. I think there was a cultural divide this season. There was a definite communication issue between Juan Pablo and the ladies. And, maybe that's why you go with the safe pick. Maybe that's why you pick a Sean. You pick a Des.
You know something? I disagree. I don't think there was a communication issue at all. I think everyone communicated very directly, particularly Juan Pablo's parents. He said he was hyperactive, rude, that he would leave her in a heartbeat, and it would just be a matter of if she came back. I think the problem was the ladies weren't listening. Which of the ladies do you think is going to be the Bachelorette?
Well, Andy's a candidate for sure. Claire, because she's got that video still to play. Maybe she withheld the video to try to become the Bachelorette. Oh, are they showing somebody? Wait, did they just announce it? Oh,
they announced the Bachelorette tonight?
Yeah, I'm looking at the TV. It looks. I just stood up.
Don't you spoil this for me?
I know who it is.
All right, tell me who is it.
Right now, she's in a rotunda, surrounded by pillars. It looks like it's very Jeffersonian, the architecture. There she's on a bench. She's glancing.
All right, who is it?
Oh, no, maybe she's not the bat. I don't know.
Is it Andy?
It's Andy. Now she's with a pink tree.
Yeah, she's the Bachelorette.
I can't tell if it's a magnolia tree.
They don't put you amidst the pillars and the pink trees unless you're the Bachelorette. I'll tell you that.
No, it looked like she was walking around the Jefferson Memorial. Well, this is big. This is great stuff. She's going to be the Bachelorette. She got that dad. What was her dad's name?
Hi.
Well, I look forward to Hi. I mean, we're not going to maybe get to see Hi until sort of the end of next season.
Hi is going to be beside himself. He's, I don't think he ever bargained for this.
No, this is not what Hi signed up for when he had a child.
Yeah, and I'll be honest with you, I don't think we signed up for 12 going on 13 straight seasons podcasting about The Bachelor and The Bachelorette.
I'm not excited for her as The Bachelorette.
Are you ever excited for The Bachelorette?
I was excited about Des. I like Des a lot.
But that sort of turned into a dud of a season, didn't it, with Des?
Well, she had the moments with Brooks on the edge at the end of the pier.
Yeah, that was high drama.
Yeah. You have to wonder how this season would have been different had they been on a pier.
Yeah, there should be more piers.
Yeah, what if Juan Pablo had whispered that sexual vulgarity to her on a pier rather than in a helicopter?
could have changed the whole landscape.
Well, maybe he could have said it to her in a hot tub, and then they could have just acted on it right there.
Right. There's a lot of what ifs. We could play this game all night.
Yeah.
Let's end this here. Thanks for your collegiality, your insights this season. I really appreciate it. I think you're the best podcasting partner a guy could have. And thank you, everybody, for joining us.
Wait, are you saying that you love me or that you like me a lot?
I don't have to say that to everyone. Wait till after the podcast. Until next season, everyone. The Big Kid.
Time to keep it, time to keep it, time to keep it. It's the big keep it. Come and keep it with the big keep it. Ooh, big keep it. It's the big keep it. Come and keep it with the big keep it. Ooh, big keep it.